Good morning. My name is Hannah Finney. I'm a graduate student at the University of West Alabama in Livingston, Alabama. Today, I'm going to talk to you about monitoring the cave dispersal of white nose syndrome in bats. White nose syndrome is a fungal infection caused by the fungus Pseudogymnoascus destructans. This fungus affects bats while they are hibernating. The bats that are infected wake up from hibernation more frequently and in turn causes them to use up more of their energy reserves that they have for hibernation. They also deal with dehydration and wing issues, like problems with heat exchange and blood circulation for their bodies. This is because their wings are not just used for flying, but are the site of many important processes. Visible signs that a bat has white nose syndrome are white growths on their muzzles, faces, ears. They can also have white growths on their wings. This fungus does not originate from the United States. It was actually introduced from Europe. It was first introduced in New York in 2006 and has continued to spread westward throughout the continent. It is deadly to bats and has spread dramatically over these past years. Ways that it can be contracted are from cave walls that have been contaminated. Also, bats coming into physical contact with other bats that have been infected, and additionally from humans tracking the fungus from one cave to another. Cave tours have become increasingly popular, so we could be tracking the fungus on our clothing, on our shoes, and from other gear that we may be carrying. It is common for cave tours to, at the end, have you clean your gear and clean your shoes. This could be something as simple as walking through long brushes where you're wiping off the sides and the bottoms of your boots or brushing off your other gear. This is to try to prevent and mitigate the spread of the fungal infection and other fungal infections that could be in caves. Some caves actually do not allow visitors to bring in gear at all. It is important to note that the fungal infection poses no direct threat to humans, as it's not contagious to humans. There is no current cure for white nose syndrome, and it has killed about 90% of 3 of North America's bat species. These most afflicted bat species are the northern long-eared bat, the little brown bat, and tricolored bat. This fungal infection has also affected populations like the Indiana bat and the big brown bat, as it has spread throughout, but the effects on these 2 species has not been nearly as severe as the previous 3 mentioned. Methods and materials needed for this research project included tools that would allow the identification of aspects of dispersal and spreading of the fungus. This would allow us to learn how to treat caves to prevent them from becoming infected in the first place. We needed samples of bats that have contracted the fungus, both alive and dead. Additionally, we needed bats that were not and had never been affected by the fungus. We needed access to caves that had been contaminated and to caves that were not contaminated. We collected data about the caves that were both affected and unaffected to see commonalities and differences. We also needed access to previous data that may have been collected about the characteristics of caves that bats prefer to hibernate in, and what sets these preferred hibernation caves apart from others. These together helped us formulate a method to treat caves before the infection arrived to prevent it from becoming contaminated. Findings from this research shows that there is a treatment for cave walls that can effectively prevent Pseudogymnoascus destructans from thriving in the cold caves. This will prevent the spreading of contaminated caves, which is a major factor in managing these fungal infections. Through this research, we work to find a way to protect bat populations from contracting white nose syndrome while hibernating in caves during the winter months. Although there is no specific cure for white nose syndrome as of now, it is possible to treat caves in other areas for the fungus. This keeps the hibernating bats. More studies will have to be conducted to monitor how successful it continues to spread westward across North America. This will give us more insight into additional measures that need to be taken in the future for bat species to open the doors for further research. Although white nose syndrome can also be contracted from contact with other bats that are infected, and also from humans transporting fungus on clothing and shoes, treating the caves that have not yet been affected would greatly reduce mortality rates among bats as fungus spread across the continent. Even though it is not a complete fix, it buys much time as more knowledge is obtained. This research aims to promote the continuation of more innovative ways to support and conserve bat species. Bats offer important ecological services and are vital to their ecosystems. Thus, it is important for us to practice conservation efforts and mitigation to protect them. After this research, headway must still be made for bat species that are at the greatest risk for contracting white nose syndrome. More research also needs to be conducted on the differences between the bats that are more susceptible to white nose syndrome and those that do not contract the fungal infection at all. This research has developed a cave treatment while more knowledge about the fungus is gained, and more prevention methods and treatments can still be developed and should be. This research team is hopeful that prevention methods will continue to improve and a cure for the fungal infection that is killing so many North American bats will be found. Here is a list of references used for the photography in the presentation. And now my acknowledgments. Thank you, and I will now take questions.